All right, I don't want you to freak out about what I'm going to talk about today. It's all good. You're going to want to watch this all the way through, please, because sometimes you guys get halfway through and you start making comments. Listen to the whole thing, because DNA activation well underway. It's not something that's going to happen. It's been happening. I'm going to share with you how it works and a few things that may be very exciting for you. I'm seeing it happen, and you can too. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. I should have put the air conditioning on a little cooler. Alrighty, you ready for this? What's DNA activation? I don't watch YouTube or any channels other than maybe a few science ones or, space or whatever. So these things you guys talk about half the time, I have no clue, what you're saying, because I get my own information, and so can you. So if you're seeking out there and somebody says, well, somebody mentioned everything's going to happen in a flash, and these are spiritual teachers, I'm saying, really? I don't think so. And if it does, well, it could be a solar flare, it could be anything. All I know is right now, at this moment, you are going into transition. Now, I talked about the big split. Transition means you can either choose to stay in the material world, separation, and not wake up, not remove the veils of the illusion. There's no punishment here. It's self-created. It's all meant, everything's good, everything's good. It's all meant for experiences and teachings. So the one who is us, we get to know contrast. We get to know what we are, because you cannot know health unless you've been sick before, right? If I talked to you and you'd never been sick, and I'd explain something, you'd say, well, what are you talking about? Like, explain what that's like. And of course, I'd say, oh, well, you might have a fever, aches and pains. Well, if you'd never had aches and pains, you wouldn't know what aches and pains are, right? You are the ultimate unconditional loving perfection of the universe that's knowing everything else to know that. And it's pretty darn exciting, isn't it? Come on, you'd be bored out of your brains if you were on an island just eating bonbons. DNA activation. I happen to have already experienced it years ago. You might have too. Some people call it Kundalini Awakening. Well, this is beyond that. This is more of a physical along with your frequency, because your frequency and your body have to be in sync with each other. In other words, it's already tough enough for us to be in big, heavy bodies here and to deal with this horrific stuff that's going on out there that we can't relate to, that can be very depressing sometimes. I know some of you are like, oh, get me off the planet. I'm like, no, you got to do your job here first. You got to remember that's why we came here. You don't get out of anything. So what happens is, as you raise your frequency and you let go of the judgment, the separation, the pointing fingers, taking sides, when we respect one another and we are all placing each other first, service to others, we live on a planet of heaven, heaven on earth. It's all possible. I do believe we're going into that. Somebody said remote viewers said 2024, all they saw was blackness. You know what my interpretation of that is? Because they can't know. You can't see what you can't know, right? So it wasn't revealed to them. It's not that we go into, become obliterated. It's just that we can't know the future. In fact, remote viewers, if you saw my other videos, they deal with existing situations. When they tried to look into the future, none of them had the same future. Some were similar, some weren't. And so they realized that remote viewing was not something that you should use to look into the future, because the future was constantly changing. Just like Nostradamus and Edgar Cayce have not been accurate. Some things, yes, mostly no. They'll say yes, but we can read anything we want into that. But they both said, we tell you this future so that you can change it. It is changeable. I'm telling you right now what I see so that if you don't change your ways, it will not change. And so we will have cataclysmic events. We have changed. They haven't happened. All these things that are supposed to happen, wait, we're decades past it. Did you know that? Yeah. So what's DNA awakening? Well, what happens is when you go into a higher frequency, service to others, you go into the quantum field, you actually expand out. If you've experienced this before, it's a little freaky. You actually don't feel like you're in your body. You see differently. Things are more crystal clear and beautiful, not in an annoying way, just in a beautiful way. And also, colors are more vivid. You feel energy off of plants, and you're very sensitive. Sometimes you'll have more psychic powers. You'll actually know what people are thinking. I don't mean like, every word, but you sense things. I do that with people all the time. So when you raise your frequency and you're open to that, you're going out here more. You're disconnecting more and more from your body. You're still part of your body, but you're disconnecting from it. You're getting more expansive into that which you already are. The veils are coming down, so now you're seeing things out here, you're experiencing things, and it's amazing. I mean, you can go into euphoria, and it's like things don't bother you anymore, and that's why I'm teaching Breakthrough Fear. You experience it, it just doesn't faze you anymore. It doesn't control you. So what happens to the body? Well, the body has to adjust. So we went through a DNA awakening, and this is actually, scientifically proven that it's changing our DNA. What's junk DNA? Oh, there's stuff not being used. Baloney. It's there because we are that. We just aren't using it. Just like we only use, so much of our brain. How's that possible if we evolve? It's not. We are programmed to be able to use that when we're ready. And we're ready. Are you ready? If you're not using it, then it's time for you to go into it. So what happens when you have a DNA shift? Expansion, awakening, I should say. That is, and by the way, it doesn't mean you have all the, the universal answers and everything, but you are starting to separate from your ego more. You feel different, and you don't even know, you may not even know you're going into awakening. You just know that you're detaching from all this stuff out here that's just ridiculous, silliness, right? Isn't it? So you will physically feel, it almost feels like electricity going through your body. Now, I experienced this, at least 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Yeah, at least. And I didn't know what it was, but it would come in spurts. So for months at a time, when I was relaxed and expanded out of my body, my whole body would go. It felt like electrical shocks, but not painful, but getting a little annoying, let's put it that way. And I would just relax. I would relax, and I knew that something was going on that I couldn't explain, but I knew that I didn't fear it. So people say Kundalini Awakening. I don't really understand that completely, but that's part of it. So when you go into awakened state, whether it's Kundalini or anything else, you will have physical changes in your body. So it's already been happening. Now here's the exciting part. I don't want you to miss this. We have been activated. All right, what does this mean? An activation is going on right now. I feel it, and I'm seeing other spiritual teachers and other people who are just going into the meek, the kind, giving, loving people that you don't hear much about, are doing their jobs. We are being activated, and I sense that we are connecting to the same messages in that quantum field because we're into an expansive state with more abilities. And we are ready for information that we normally wouldn't be able to handle or believe, and we're okay with it now that we're just one energy, experiencing everything at the same time, that there's no such thing as time. We're just happening, and that we get to express ourselves individually within it. That's what makes the contrast within the one energy field. And so we are activated on planet Earth, those of us who've gone into the DNA shift because we have pursued it, right? It's a choice. You're not being left behind. No one gets left behind. No one. How can you be left behind? We're one thing, right? It's just a choice of experiences. So what's going to happen now is you're going to see big peace movements, big meditation sessions, I have the Miracle Circle. Come on over, you guys. This is free. Come up. No, the Miracle Circle is, and it's $29.95 a month. $29.95 a month. We have a Miracle Circle meditation. Plus, you get a lesson and all kinds of training. Why? Because I want to keep you in that level of light, and we actually keep the light out there. We don't pull it back. There's nothing to pull back. We want to stay connected to it. We've had miracles, spontaneous healings. We've had amazing things happen for my members. You can do the same thing, but in numbers, it's much more effective, right? Because the more massive we become, and it doesn't take a lot of us to do that, to change the planet. I send my light every morning and during the day, that I pray that those who, are looking for answers find them. I don't want to say you heal and you do this, that. I want to send, wishes that they find their own pathway. So you're going to see all of these big movements happening. And if you're not looking, you won't see them, but they're out there. You're going to see organizations hosting events, online stuff, trainings. I'm part of the team. I call it the team. And the activation of DNA is now, it's sort of like we've all been switched on. It was not one time. It was like we're ready to do it. The frequency's just right for us to place those messages out there that will now be received by those who choose it. You don't have to choose it. If you're still stuck in some other way of thinking, limitations, work through that. And at some point, when you're ready to let that go, all is possible. Now, I'm going to tell you something that I don't want to freak you out, but other beings are also prepared to activate. And they're waiting for us to get into position to accept the miraculous solutions that are waiting for us right now. Beautiful, wonderful things. But as long as we're in density, we won't accept it, we won't believe it. We're still programmed to think everything outside of us is evil, or that dark energies have power over you. They don't. Nothing does. It's all part of illusion too. And if there are dark energy fields, they don't mess with somebody they can't have fun with. It's like going to a party and nobody's there. Ugh. Okay, next house. That's all it is, all right? So it's just like anything. If you're in a negative frequency, a lower frequency, who are you going to attract? The meek. I always say the meek because the meek are the peaceful ones you never hear about. They don't engage. They won't hang out with you. You're going to see a lot of departures from some very good people, by the way. That they're still in density. They still think that, things work a certain way, and they have limitations. So they're staying in this space where they got to work through that there aren't any limitations. And not everybody's going to have those answers. And they'll transition out of here and go on to amazing things and work it out over there. But don't worry about that. Nobody gets left behind. And there's no evil and bad people. Somebody said, do a video on why bad people have good things happen to them. I'm like, you know what? Everybody has wonderful things happen to them. But the consequences of your actions will show up at some point. Have you ever noticed that? Bad people, there's never a good ending to that. Never. And there are always consequences even beyond when you leave your body. So you don't have to worry about that. Are you being activated? Do you feel like now you're connected to do something right now? I hope so. Come join us. There's all kinds of ways for you to participate. It starts with meditation. I have a Miracle Circle gift meditation that's really powerful. If you're in my free videos, I think it's the third one you get. It's from my paid program, and it's 30 minutes. It's pretty darn powerful. And so that's all you have to do every day. And activation means that we let go of anything that's negative. We let go of judgment, pointing fingers, separation, calling somebody wrong. You don't know somebody else. You know nothing about them. I want to just mention something too. These are free videos. All right, I've been on a while, 17 minutes. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Please subscribe and share these. The more you share this with people that want to hear it, that might be exposed to things they haven't heard, the more we spread that expansiveness. And maybe it changes one person's life. You're amazing. Never forget that. Namaste.